Hey guys, it's Kasara, and today we're going to be talking about characters that I love. So I'm doing a really small mini-series of characters that I love, characters that I hate, and characters that I love to hate. So this is the first video in this tiny mini-series. I'll link the other videos down below when they come out. These are characters that have made a pretty big impression on me, and I remember them even when it's been a while since I've read the book that these characters are in, and they're some of my favorite characters. Some of them are not necessarily likable characters, because I love a good unlikable character if it's written well. So you'll see, there are definitely some really good ones in here though. The first character that I definitely really love is from The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang, and it's the main protagonist, Rin. I love her so much. I think the way that I always describe her is intense and ruthless, because she has strong convictions and she sticks to them no matter what. She is hardcore all the time, and I love every second of her perspective. The Poppy War series would be such a different book if it followed a different character, but because of Rin and how ambitious and hardcore that she is, I end up loving the series. So definitely really enjoyed that character. The next character that I want to talk about is from a middle grade series, The Underland Chronicles by Suzanne Collins. This is one of my favorite series of all times. It's definitely a nostalgic series for me because it was one of my favorites when I was a child. And Rip Red is a giant rat. So this series takes place underground, in which there are animals that are extra large, and the rats and the humans are basically at war with each other. And Rip Red is one of the characters that wants peace. He wants peace between both sides, and he works with the humans in order to get that peace, but he makes it quite obvious that he is still on the side of the rat. He's just one of those like really smart characters, and he has a very tragic backstory that I absolutely love. I don't want to say too much about it because I feel like this is a really underrated series that not a lot of people know, but I definitely highly recommend it. And Rip Red is like one of my favorite characters that I read as a child, and I really enjoy the series because of him. The next two characters are actually very similar in my mind. They're kind of a character archetype that I'm realizing more and more I really love. The first one of these characters is Carden from the Folk of the Air trilogy. So Carden is obviously the Cruel Prince from the title The Cruel Prince, and I love him as a character because he's outwardly a horrible person, but inside, even if it's buried just deep down inside, he's actually a really good person. And while he doesn't always make it show, he operates in certain ways are kind of admirable. Similarly, another character that I also really enjoy is Rhysand from the Court of Thorns and Roses series. If you've only read the first book in the series, he seems like a horrible person because of some of the stuff that he does to our main character, Farah. But underneath it all, he's doing it to protect her. And even though she and most of the people in the court don't see it that way and don't see him as a good person, deep down inside, he's actually a good person and he has good motivation. But even though he's like actually a really good person, he lets people think that he's not a good person in order to protect the people that he loves. So those are both characters that I absolutely love just because of how complex they are. And while they're not likable characters, and there's some character that I'm sure some people really hate them because of who they are inside, I have a hard time hating them. So I don't love to hate them, I just love them. Though sometimes I hate that I love them, if you know what I mean. The next character that I really love is from the Lightbringer series by Brent Weeks, and that's Gavin Gyle, like the main character that we're first introduced to. I don't know what it is about him because he's not a particularly likable character. Sometimes he's likable, but he's definitely very much of a show-off, and there are a lot of aspects of his character that I don't like. There are scenes in which he can be very violent, and he can be a murderer at times, and not even with people that deserve it necessarily. But the way that he does things, I end up liking them. I don't know why. Like, this is one of those characters that whenever the book is from his point of view, I enjoy it so much more. And I don't really understand it, but I love him him as a character. And I think part of it is that he's kind of a badass and he knows that he's a badass, but at the same time, like, he doesn't always take advantage of that, if you know what I mean. At the end of the day, he does make a lot of sacrifices for his people. So he's just one of those characters that I just end up really loving. Another character that I really love is Malta from the Liveship Traders trilogy. This is a character that I love her because of her character growth. Because in the first book of this trilogy, I hated her. Like, she was the character that I absolutely hated because she's just so whiny and annoying, and she gets herself in like the worst places in the stupidest ways possible. But the way that she grows and becomes this really like powerful character, I just loved it. I loved her character growth so much by the end of the series, and her character growth is done in such a way that it doesn't really change her personality. It just changes how she utilizes that personality, and it's done in such a fantastic way that I can't help but loving that character. And it was her characterization and her character development that really made me love Robin Hobb as a writer, because it was just fantastically done and I absolutely loved it. The next character that I want to talk about that is one of my favorite characters ever is Tyrion Lannister from the A Song of Ice and Fire series. He was like one of the first characters that I ended up really loving as a character, even though like if I met him in real life, I would probably hate him because he drinks a lot, he whores a lot, he's just one of those party kids that I would not enjoy. But just knowing his backstory and how he became the way that he is and what he does in the series and how smart and clever he actually is just so good. And I absolutely love him as a character. But like I said, if I met him in real life, I would probably hate him. And I understand why so many people in the series hates him because of that. Like, if I'm being honest, like, he was one of the first characters that I read that was like that, where it's a character who was really not a good person, but is written in such a way that I really can't help but love him. And the last character on this list is a more recent one for me, and that is from the First Law trilogy. A character that I love from the First Law trilogy is Glokta. So Glokta is a High Inquisitor, and he's a crippled, and he delights in other people's pain. But he delights in other people's pain because he is constantly in pain. And he used to be a very good fighter, and he used to be a soldier fighting in wars and used to come back with a lot of glory. But now that he's not even old, but he's crippled, he can't do as much. But at the same time, he's a very smart character. So like, he's one of those characters that, again, I wouldn't like him if I met him in person, but because I understand where he's coming from and why he revels in other people's pains and things like that, I really enjoy reading from his perspective, and I really enjoy him as a character. He's like one of the main reasons that I really got into the First Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie in the first place, just because his character perspective is so intriguing and fun to read. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Let me know some of your favorite characters down in the descriptions and why you like them, especially if you like other characters from the same series that I just talked about. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. I post videos frequently on this channel, so consider subscribing. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.